From the Holy Gospel according to John. Many of Jesus' disciples who were listening said, "This saying is hard. Who can accept it?" Since Jesus knew that his disciples were murmuring about this, he said to them, "Does this shock you? What if you were to see the Son of Man ascending to where he was before? It is the Spirit that gives life, while the flesh is of no avail. The words I have spoken to you are spirit and life, but there are some of you who do not believe." Jesus knew from the beginning the ones who would not believe and the one who would betray him. And he said, "For this reason I have told you that no one can come to me unless it is granted him by my Father." As a result of this, many of his disciples returned to their former way of life and no longer accompanied him. Jesus then said to the 12, "Do you also want to leave?" Simon Peter answered him, "Master, to whom shall we go? You have the words of eternal life. We have come to believe and are convinced that you are the Holy One of God." The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus.
When we come to this Sunday in church, as we hear Ephesians 5, a lot of people immediately expect that the priest is going to preach on Ephesians 5. Wives, be submissive to your husbands. How many wives like that? How many husbands like that? I'm not evading Ephesians 5, but I won't preach on Ephesians 5. So sorry to disappoint you, because when we hear that reading, I know a lot of feelings are stirred in there. Just before I've already begun the homily, but before I actually begin the homily, let me tell you that Ephesians 5 is really not that complicated, because Paul is actually elevating both genders. He's not saying only wives be submissive, because he says, husbands, love your wives. And unless you want to say that wives don't need to love their husbands, then you realize that, basically what Paul is saying is equating both. He's calling both in the married couple to obey, to be submissive to each other, and also to love each other. I know I've had my experiences with that. When I was a seminarian, I tried to convince a young girl in Dayton, Ohio, that was getting married, that it was okay to use that reading, because she told me, the only reading I don't want is Ephesians 5. So I explained to her everything, and I asked her directly, I said, what do you think is easier, to be submissive or to love? And then she said, correctly, if you're going to really love, it's harder to really love than to be submissive. And she was right. But then she looked at me and said, but I don't want that reading anyway.